Good evening, Frau Flahiatu, and welcome to tonight's bulletin of BCN News. Leading the news tonight, on Friday last week, the Premier, Honourable Dalton Tagilangi, was installed as the 29th Chancellor of the University of the South Pacific at the start of the USB graduation ceremony. A total of 65 graduates received their qualifications, including 12 Masters in Business Administrations. Here's more on that story. The graduation ceremony is the third and largest held in Niue and witnessed by dignitaries, families and friends of the graduates. Member of the USB Council, Honourable Sauni Tongatule, welcomed everyone to the momentous occasion.
It is my honour and pleasure to welcome you all to this ceremony for conferring the degrees and awarding diplomas and certificates. As a member of the University Council, it is my duty this afternoon to open the ceremony, and I now formally do so. This afternoon's ceremony is also a very special occasion for our graduates and their families. It is special also because we will be installing the 29th Chancellor of the University of the South Pacific, the Honourable Dalton Emani Makamau Tagilangi, Premier, Government of Niue.
It's understood that this is the first time the installation of the Chancellor of the University of the South Pacific has been done outside of Fiji, where the main campus, Laudala, is located. Honourable Sauni Tongatule, representing the Vice-Chancellor and President of the University and the Pro-Chancellor of the University, installed the Premier of Niue, Honourable Dalton Tagilangi, as the 29th Chancellor of the University.
Honourable Tagilangi, on behalf of the University Council, I warmly welcome you and thank you for graciously accepting to become the 29th Chancellor of the University of the South Pacific. It is an honor and privilege to invite you, sir, to formally accept this invitation.
It is a great honor for me to be given this great opportunity. I pledge to continue upholding and maintaining the integrity of the role as we're done by the previous 28 chancellors before me.
Premier Dalton Tagilangi, as the Chancellor of the University, will serve in the role until the end of June 2020. The graduation ceremony was held at the Niue High School Multipurpose Hall, where the graduates walked across the stage to receive their qualifications from the newly installed Chancellor. The Vice-Chancellor, Professor Pala Luwalia, addressed the ceremony via video link. More than half of the graduates are women and 56% were at postgraduate level. Among the graduates were several married couples, including the oldest of the graduates, who are in their 70s, one of whom is the former Speaker of the Whanokepule, Atapana Siakimotu, and his wife, former Director of Education, Loselingi Siakimotu. Mrs. Doreen Siatanga spoke on behalf of the graduates after receiving her Masters in Business Administration with 12 others. She took the opportunity to speak to the representatives of the two main donors of the University of the South Pacific, the governments of Australia and New Zealand, whose representatives were in attendance at the day.
I humbly ask our development partners, Australia, New Zealand, together with the Government of Niue and USB in partnership, to look at innovative ways of bringing appropriate studies into Niue, instead of sending students out on scholarships, but to develop an enabling environment and upgrading existing structures already in place to facilitate an enhanced learning and to resource it adequately. We found that with limited resources, at USB, it was challenging for our students. We often faced network dropouts, which caused delays to start of lectures, delays in getting textbooks because of COVID restrictions.
The ceremony ended with the valediction by the Minister of Education, Honourable Sauni Tongatule, representing the Vice-Chancellor and Council of the University.
Ladies and gentlemen, as you graduate today from the University of the South Pacific, and return to your homes, workplace, and families. Ever broaden your vision and your resolve to serve your people and humankind. And may truth, justice, and peace guide and direct you, now and forever. Kia munuina tautuluosi.
After the graduation, the Department of Education and Ministry of Social Services hosted the graduates and their guests to a festive dinner at Tuasea. Congratulations to all the graduates and to your families as well. In other stories, this year marks the 175th anniversary of the introduction of the gospel to Niue by Nukai Penyamina in 1846. The traditional national church service was held on Monday, where the New Zealand High Commissioner, Her Excellency Helen Tana, announced the decision of the Laws family of London to return their family taonga of a Bible and photographs to Niue. The Penyamina Day National Church Service was attended by Premier and his members of Cabinet, the members of the Whanokepule, the diplomatic representatives from New Zealand and Australia, and hundreds of members of the Niue Ecclesia and other religious denominations on the island. Officiated by the President of the Ecclesia Kerisiano Niue, Reverend Nuka Tauevihi. New Zealand's High Commissioner to Niue, Her Excellency Helen Tana, in her address informed the congregation of the decision of the great-grandson of one of the former missionaries, Frank and Sarah Laws, who served Niue for more than 40 years. The family had decided to return to Niue the family Bible and photographs of their time in Niue.
In recent months, some of you may be aware that I've been in communication with Margaret Pointer and with Mr. Jonathan Laws in London. He's the great-grandson of Frank and Sarah Laws. And this is because his family has decided to gift some family treasures back to Niue. It's a family Bible and some family photographs from Frank and Sarah's time in Niue. So we're still working to get them back here to Niue itself. We've got them from London to Wellington, and we'll be archiving the photographs and working with the government of Niue, Ecclesia Niue, and with Taonga Niue on archiving and ensuring that we can treasure these items. But so today I have a message from Jonathan for the congregation. Jonathan wrote to me the other day and he said, "I would like to thank especially Margaret Pointer for getting the project going in the first place. When I showed them to Margaret when she visited us here in London a few years ago, we discussed what to do with them, and it was her suggestion that they be returned to Niue. Truthfully, it has been an easy decision to send them back to where they belong, because they were just sitting in a box here at home and waiting to be handed on to the next generation. I cannot really call it a gift, therefore. After a wonderful stay in Niue in 1998 with my wife, I had often wondered what to do with them, and now I am so pleased they're returning to where they come from and that they will be displayed for all to see. I was pleased to hear that you might mention this at the church service on Penyamina Day, and asked if I had a message. And he says, "I hope my great-grandfather, the Reverend F.E. Laws, and his marvellous wife Sarah might have approved of this happening, seeing they had lived and worked in Niue for 40 years. After all, it was her Bible, translated into the Niue language partly by her husband, and her album in which she had assembled all her photographs. I now look forward to hearing of further developments, and do please keep me informed. Best wishes, Jonathan."
Minister Crosley Tatui represented the government, speaking on the impacts of the pandemic on the government and the island, which has also impacted on the resources to provide support for the various groups on the island, like the religious sector. Just under $72,000 was raised for the running costs of the Ecclesia Kerisiano Niue at the Penyamina service this year. The largest donation of $10,000 was from the Ecclesia of Hakupuatua. And this week, Premier Dalton Tangilanghi sent his statement to COP26 as part of the Pacific Forum leaders' call for action at the United Nations Conference on Climate Change, which will start next week. The leaders' statements were made in response to the decisions made at the 51st Pacific Islands Forum in relation to the declaration on preserving maritime zones in the face of climate change-related sea level rise.
Acknowledging that the relationship between climate change-related sea level rise and maritime zones was not contemplated by the drafters of the convention at the time of these negotiations.
Meanwhile, one of the region's leading experts on marine science, climate change, and is senior advisor to the Director General of SPC, Ms. Coral Paisisi, last week addressed the United Nations Security Council for the second time. The informal meeting of the Security Council of the UN is an opportunity to enhance their understanding of sea level rise and implications on international peace and security, given the latest scientific research and information on the evolution and impacts of climate change. Coral Paisisi, in a statement to BCN News, said that her brief included 4 key issues: maritime boundary security, coastal flooding, food and water security, and displacement and forced migration. Ms. Paisisi used 2 examples of the magnitude of implications of coastal flooding and wave inundation, from Tuvalu's example with Cyclone Tino and Cyclone Hatta, which struck Niue in 2004. The United Nations Conference on Climate Change, or COP26, will begin next week. Niue and Premier Dalton Tangilanghi will be represented by Niue's Special Envoy, Dr. Dean Rex, in Glasgow, Scotland. The message to those waiting in Auckland to return home is to take the precautionary measures very seriously. That's what one of the first passengers to return home, Robert B.J. Rex, told BCN News this week from MIQ at Home Office. Robert B.J. Rex says that those passengers waiting to return home must play their part by staying away from locations of interest and to stay with their bubble, not to hold farewell dinners as people would normally do before returning home. Robert Rex is one of the first 23 passengers to return to the island since Auckland went into lockdown nearly 3 months ago. Robert Rex told BCN News that he had decided to take extra precaution by continuing into home isolation for 3 days after leaving MIQ on Monday next week. This is a decision he has decided on his own and is not a requirement of the government. He says that he fully understands that there are still many people on the island who are fearful of what may happen with the resumption of passenger flights from Auckland, given that the Delta variant community cases are still an issue in New Zealand. Chief of Police Tim Wilson is also in MIQ and is happy to be home, along with the Director General of the Ministry of Social Services and Health, Gayleen Tasmania. Chief Wilson says that he can appreciate the fear of their returning home with the cases in Auckland, but fear is also good.
It's good to be fearful because then you look and try to make sure you have all of your precautions in place, all your protections in place to make sure that that everyone is being kept safe, and that we're doing everything we can to prevent this virus from reaching Niue, and then if it were to get here, to make sure that it stayed within quarantine and didn't get out and affect everybody. So just just keep in mind, we've been doing this for a year and a half now, a little more than a year and a half. Our processes here in Niue have been the gold standard for a lot of the Pacific. New Zealand has been very helpful with us in making sure we had proper procedures, but even them, they've had to institute procedures that we've been doing for a long time as time came along in order to protect their population. So Niue's always had very robust protections in place, and those protections have been based on health advice from the health department, from here and the health department in New Zealand and the WHO and CDC and a bunch of other experts around the world, including Dr. Cullen now, who assists. So I just want everybody to know that we're glad to be home. We are the family and friends that we were when we left. We're not tourists who are just coming up to take advantage of the beauty of Niue and that. But we're glad to be home where we belong. And none of us would jump on that plane if we thought that we posed a risk whatsoever to Niue, because we don't want to bring it back to our families and our friends. And that the government has really good procedures in place in order to ensure that everybody is protected.
The group in quarantine have completed 3 tests in a matter of 1 week, and all passengers have returned negative results. The healthcare and COVID swabs are being done by the Director General Gayleen Tasmania and retired physiotherapist Moka Mangatungia, and also retired nurse Jane Nemaya. Gayleen Tasmania says that they are now into their 2nd week of their stay at MIQ, and the mood is positive as they are just glad to be back home.
Everything since day one, even before we arrived here, we were just glad to be coming home. So I think everyone's been happy when we arrived because, we weren't expecting, or the team wasn't expecting to have people so distant, but it's understandable. This was the first flight after a few months. So it was understandable that people were quite apprehensive. And we knew that we had to be the example for the other passengers or the other flights yet to come. So everyone is first and foremost glad to be home. And now after 2 negative tests since we've been here, I think we've kind of become closer. We're not so distant now. We were socially distancing ourselves from each other when we first came, but we're more relaxed now. We had to keep our masks on when we went out. It became a habit.
Most of the passengers in managed isolation quarantine at Home Office had travelled to New Zealand several weeks ago for medical reasons and are just glad to be able to return home. There are at least 200 residents stranded in Auckland, including students who would want to return home at the end of the year. And that's our news for tonight. Remember, on Sunday evening at 6 p.m, there will be a candlelight vigil at the Commercial Centre as part of the Pinktober events to mark this month, October month, the Cancer Awareness Month. But from BCN News, we wish you all the very best this weekend, and we'll see you for our Niue Bulletin in Rangahau on Tuesday next week. Until then, monui ne po, nona wha.